Hey YouTubers, Red and Brian here. Okay, I'm going to do some work on this, whatever you want to call it, the tractor mobile this weekend. Possibly get that engine running. I picked up some premix. It's for chainsaws and crap like that. It does not say anything about snowmobiles, but I'm going to run that just to make sure that engine runs. It's 50 to 1. I believe as long as I don't get too hot, which it's wintertime, it shouldn't get too hot. It should be fine. I am going to try the oil injection system. A few people are saying there's not much that can go wrong with the oil injection systems. I'm going to text the kid I got this from and ask him, did the oil injection system work or was it not working at all? Then I will figure out a oil tank. But that's not going to be for a couple months. I just want to see if I can get this running and see if my suspicions are correct on why it's not running correctly. Basically meaning fuel tanks in the back, no fuel pump. If I can find a fuel pump, and if this engine has a vacuum line, I will run a fuel pump. I think the fuel pump I have, it's for a tractor or something like, for a tractor or a small engine. I think it's too high of a volume for this engine. But if I can run a vacuum, it would be a lot easier, or a lot better at least. But I was looking at this because this engine came with no bolts to mount it in. I was looking at how to do this, and he must have had this all apart, and then he didn't fully put it back together, because there's no way this engine would have went in here the way I got it. This bolt right here is stuck on the cross member. I'm hoping I can actually get the bolt in for the correct one in for the engine. Without having to put some washers and some spacers underneath it. So that one right there, that one's iffy. This one right here should be okay. But I can feel up underneath this back edge right here, and you can actually feel the top edge of the bolt. Like it's right here, just underneath. And if I have to clearance that front cross member, I will. But I'm going to have to drop the entire front end out and set up on jack stands in here, which I got enough room to do that, and bolt in those 4 engine bolts, and I'll be able to reuse his front mounts and his back corner mount. There's only really going to be 3 holding this plate, but there's going to be 2 extras, so technically 5, but 3 actually on the mount that are for the engine, and then 2 of the engine mounts, hopefully if they're long enough, which they appear that they are. We'll hold that in. But he had no washers, no lock washers. So this thing, he says he drove it. It went really, really fast, but it would never have held together, in my opinion. There's no nuts or washers, or unless he just forgot to put them back in. But the bolts seemed like they were way too short, because when I pulled the bolts out, there was practically no threads holding them in. So I don't know. That's what I'm looking at doing right now. I'm going to get this engine squared away, get it re-supported. I can't set it in place, unfortunately, because I got to deal with that bolt right there. I don't have time to deal with it right now. When I get back, as I'm going out right now to get the stuff to work on this, I should be able to deal with that. But then I'm going to probably go through all this and make sure all this is good. Again, does not appear there's any washers or any lock washers on any of this stuff. Sure, it's all put together really, really well, but when you don't have washers and lock washers on there, and you're in for a little bit of trouble. But I'm just looking at these right here. I just noticed that the welds don't look too bad, but yeah, that's the only thing I'm really worried about. Also, when I first got this bolt right here in the end for the torque converter, I believe this is the torque converter. Please correct me if I'm wrong. If this is the clutch or the torque converter, I believe it's the torque converter. Wouldn't even go in. I had to slide the entire jack shaft over so it would have enough thread, and it will bolt in now perfectly fine. But just little things like that. When you get a secondhand project, you don't know what's been done on it, and I should probably go through the rear end and check that over and a few other things. But that's just a quick update on this and what I'm up to. Also, I'm going to be working on mean and green this weekend. This shouldn't take me too long to get this engine bolted in. Get some of the wiring squared away. I got an extra wiring harness right here that should have all the correct wires to wire this up and to make this thing run. I won't need the solenoid. The engine has the starter has a solenoid built in, but other than that, wish me luck on this. For the first start, I'll hopefully get it on video, but yeah. So I'll talk to you later. Please keep it redneck like always, and please share a comment.